Hey. I thought that we would do a little impromptu Q&A about the upcoming European Classic Cup, the ECC, which is going to be held at the season finale of the ECPL at Mayhem, Essex on the 2nd and 3rd of October. So, few things to divulge, few things to talk through. And open to any and all questions that you guys want to pose. So lots going on. Season finale. I've published the series standings today on the ECPL Facebook page, so link is in the description of this video. The way the series points works are as follows. Every team that plays in the finals, so if it's a one-day event, everybody's in the finals. If it's a two-day event, you'll be in your respective finals divisions. Every point that you score in the finals, be it through eliminations, live players, flag hangs or flag grabs, counts. So let's say you finish the event, as I think Sandbaggers did at Skirmish, with 771 points. They are the series points you get for that event. So things hotting up. I think Russians have a slim lead over Somank, and it's going to be tight going into the third and final event of the year. So European Classic Cup, 2-day event. Every team plays both days. We're going old school. We are going to have mixed divisions, mixed prelim divisions, where pros and ams will play within the same division. Your scores from the Saturday, from the prelims, determine which division you get ranked in for the Sunday. So every team that enters will play both days. Few little tweaks. We are going to do event flags. So here's the current ECPL flag, as you can see. For the ECC, we're going to have dedicated flags. So there'll be prelim flags that will and there'll be finals flags. Now both of the ECC flags will have team logos on. So if you are confirmed, you pay your deposit before the end of July and you pay your balance before the end of August, your team logo will be featured on the event flags. Team logos, teams that do that will also have their team logo featured on the event shirt. So every event I do a shirt. This is the one from Skirmish last year, and people who pre-order them can get their name on it. So this is the one I stole off Thomas, my eldest. So you can get your name on it. And like I say, ECC will have all of the teams' logos that are entered and confirmed, providing they paid deposit by the end of July, balance by the end of August, on the back of the shirt. So neat little touch going forward that I'm going to keep in place for ECC for sure. Speaking of teams, loads of teams are confirmed already. So we've got the Russians, we've got 2 Tigers teams, so Tigers Black and Tigers Gold. We've got the BZ Grizzlies. We've got the Predators coming out the woods to play, which I'm excited and elated about, because they've long been advocates of Woodland Classic Paintball. For them to come and embrace Hyperball and mounds fields, which is what we're going to have at the ECC, phenomenal, great. So Mank Mafia are in. Yorkshire Bants are looking very, very good. Warp Tack will be in. Punishers, a new team, or rather a revitalised team. Brian Carmichael has got them together and confirmed that they want in. News from today, Underdogs have paid and are in. So Mike Eastman and the crew are in. And of course, Lockie from the Underdogs guested for the Rushers at the Warped weekend. So Lockie's obviously caught the bug. So looking forward to seeing what the Underdogs can do. Other noticeables, waiting to hear from Sandbaggers. Hope that they make a return, because that makes the series even more interesting. Sandbaggers, of course, won the Skirmish Shield. Turks, hope that we get them out to an ECPL this year. Hawks, Jake and Chris Jones looking to get the Hawks in, which is cool. TMG, hopeful that we see them back again, especially as it's a bit more local for them. Just seeing comments from Ian and Christian. How are you guys doing? I'm super happy that we've got event game flags and teams are going to get commemorated on the shirts as well. So I think it's going to be a super cool little feature. And of course, bragging rights for the teams. I want to do the prelim flags a different colour to the finals flags, just so there's some nostalgia, and maybe this is something we integrate into every ECPL event going forward. Back to teams. Talk of the Heathens putting in a team. Hostile Otters, Lionesses, Redskins. There's a blast from the past. There is chatter that the Redskins, one of the longest running teams in the UK, come back and play ECPL. So loads and loads going on. If you're watching this and you and your team fancies getting in on the action, drop me a line. Let's get you taken care of. Let's get you playing some classic 10-man and join in the fun. So let's see. Richard Jones from Mayhem Tigers. There are definitely going to be some good battles. So the ECC is going to be held at Mayhem Essex. They are in the process of building a new Hyperball field as we speak. I am going. I'm actually going to Mayhem Essex this coming weekend. So I'll take some pictures and videos of the Hyperball field just to update you guys and throw them on the ECC page. Craig asking, who have I got to win the ECC? Good question. It's going to be really interesting. There are obviously some, very familiar classic 10-man names like the Rushers, like Tigers Black and Gold, like Somank, like the Predators, like the Grizzlies, etc. But then add into the mix Turks, who are having a storming year by their standards. Underdogs, who are elite CPPS. Be super interesting to see how they translate their skill sets to classic 10-man. Jaguars are putting in a team. So Sam Jays and I think Alex and maybe Dale even coming out to play. I hope. Please get Dale out to play. That would be amazing. They can all straight up play. Going to be some really good battles there because a lot of those guys have guested or played for teams like Somank in the past. Speaking of Somank, they're getting better and better. I don't think we're far off seeing them take a win. Rushers are always there or thereabouts. They've got a second and a first so far and currently leading the series. Tigers Black and Tigers Gold can both put in a shift. It'll be really interesting. So Tigers Black had a little bit of a wobble in terms of players and, how can I put it, fragility, let's say, at Warped. Running in the woods at full pelt is sometimes a risky business. And, heat was a factor at Warped. I think having the luxury of playing on flatter fields or a flatter field for the Hyperball, and obviously a not so flat field for the mounds, but a more predictable field in terms of terrain, I think that will help some of the CPPS vibe teams. So I would expect Underdogs to put in a good performance. I would expect Jaguars to put in a good performance. I would expect Rushers to put in a good performance, and Tigers as well. It'll be really interesting to see how they all embrace the challenge of 10-man classic. And this will be, going forward, this will be the European equivalent to ICC, or I hope it becomes the European equivalent to ICC. I hope that we start getting the French teams coming over. I hope that as travel restrictions continue to lift, we get, more and more European teams come over. I think continental Europe and the French and the German teams and to a certain extent the Scandinavian teams as well. That's where I really see some additional growth and some additional excitement. I think if we can get the Tauntauns out to play, if we can get Joy Division out to play, etc. I mean, there's so many nostalgic French teams and German teams. So I know the All-Stars are back. So Lars and crew, get in contact. If you can travel by October and you want in, phenomenal. Let's do it. Speaking of nostalgic French teams, Hellwood, Wolverines, Scalp. There's tons that we used to play against 20 plus years ago, and how phenomenal would it be to see those guys come over again? That would just complete the circle, and I'd absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Really interesting as well, and this is a discussion that I've had with a few people this week. We're at a really crucial point in paintball's re-emergence coming out of COVID. A lot of players I see and I hear are getting frustrated that their teams can't commit to doing events, not just ECPL, but CPPS, scenario games, etc., etc., etc. And I think there's always a core of dedicated players who can do it. The temptation for a lot of those players is to go for an easy solution and jump into a team that's kind of there or thereabouts. But the issue is they're an existing team. So whilst it helps that existing team out short term, we're not growing anything. We're just picking from the same pool of players. One of the dreams that I had for how ECPL can help this growth was actually teams approaching their local sites and saying, can we get a walk-on going to develop rental players into something more, take them to the next stage, so to speak. And I know there's quite a few sites that are doing this, Combat Games. I know that BZ Yarm do regular walk-ons. I know Mayhem Essex do classic walk-ons, which is, God, that's the gold standard from my perspective of a classic walk-on player joining an ECPL team is a feasible transition. I think that if we can reignite the passion for sites to hold walk-ons by supporting them doing walk-ons, then that grows the pool of tournament ready players. And I think that's super important because there's 5-man teams out there now, there's 7-man teams out there now, and a lot of these guys I speak to through my work with Anthrax, and they're playing UK Woodland Masters, they're playing CPPS, they're playing scenario events. They're not far away from playing some 10-man classic stuff if that's what they want to do. And I would love to see those teams be better supported by their local sites and be able to invite walk-on players who they train against, who they play with, who they train with into the fray, so to speak. And then we just grow things and grow things and grow things. In my opinion, paint's never been so affordable. Decent equipment has never been so affordable. Don't get me wrong, you can still pay top dollar for top drawer equipment. But in terms of barriers to entry, bring your own paint at ECPL. You can use leftovers. You can pot up for a team at CPPS and get paid in paint and bring it. There's no barrier to that. It's just your work ethic and your imagination to get there. There's plenty of affordable mechanical markers. 200 quid gets you going in a lot of respects. And there's options out there. You speak to any of the sites. I know Ronnie from Mayhem Essex offers a hire service on Emacs, for example. So if you really were on a budget, I reckon you could probably hire equipment and buy a box of paint for under 50 quid and play. So there are options. And like everything in this world, there's a lot of people willing to give help. Those people often don't know who to give the help to, unless you ask them for help. So, you know, very openly and honestly, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I'd love to play that, but I don't know where to start. I'd love to play that, but I don't have the equipment, or I don't even know what equipment I need, etc. You know, get in contact. Get in contact. Just seen a question, James Oakes. Any discount codes for hotels near Mayhem for us cheap northerners? www.airbnb.co.uk is who I use. Camping might even be available on site, because whilst you're claiming to be a cheap northerner, are you a hardy northerner? Speak to Ronnie. Ronnie will probably know the best options. Ronnie and Ross from Mayhem Essex, by the way, fully contactable. I will pop their details in the description of this video once we're done. Where was I going? Oh yeah, help. I got distracted by James, sorry. If you need help, ask. If I can't help you with what you need, I will probably know somebody who can, and I will be delighted to put you in contact. Teams, just seen another team on my list that I didn't mention. Mech Masters Dream Team played ECPL last year at Warped, did really, really well. It was really cool because I believe that was their first competitive event, and they just got stuck in, turned over a ton of teams and placed really highly. So I think Oliver Fulbrook and the guys are looking to come back for the October ECC event, the European Classic Cup. Series standings, posted those on the ECPL page today. There will be a trophy for the series champion for sure. James, fair point about GCC. GCC was the wettest event on record, official. Thankfully, we're mid-heat wave at the moment, so we're doing okay. If you guys are just tuning in and you missed it, big news for ECC is we're going to do event flags. Whoa. So, going to have team logos on, going to have ECC logo on, etc. Also going to do event shirts with team logos on. So if you or your team are interested in playing the European Classic Cup, get in touch, get your deposit paid by the end of July, and get your balance paid by the end of August to be included. Really looking forward to developing this event going forward. I think it's, if you know of any players who are thinking of getting back into the sport, tag them into the ECC stuff, get them involved, you know, start showing them the media that we're putting out there. There will be more and more videos. There will be more and more content coming. Equally important, if not more important, if you're playing down your local site, supporting your local series, whatever it is, and you know of people who want to get involved and start playing paintball, introduce them to the ECPL. Super affordable format, super low barrier to entry cost-wise, and let's get people playing paintball. One of the best things that we've achieved this year is the family vibe that we are experiencing at events. I love it when we have kids running around. I love it when other halves come down to support their partners. I love it when, you know, families are genuinely involved. We've got fathers and sons playing together. We've got brothers playing together. We've got uncles, aunts, etc. Let's continue that vein, because we keep going. If we keep going down that route, and we can very sustainably, in my opinion, then I think the future's really bright. All of these kids are the next generation is gonna grow up with paintball, which is something that some of the current generation did. You know, I can think of multiple names like, you know, Sam Buller, Shelley Farmer, Brad Hickson, etc., who've grown up I mean, look at Thomas Taylor and his kids. They've all grown up with paintball, and Harmony and Keith are rocking it, winning 3-mans already. And, you know, they're barely in double digits. We've got a great opportunity to stop picking from the same pool of paintball players and start growing the pool of paintball players. And that, ladies and gents, is where it's at. And that's what we need to do. We need to do that now, and we need to encourage and support people who are just currently looking in from the periphery and thinking, oh, I'd quite like a go at that. We need to get them in. We need to just, you know, put that welcoming arm around them and say, how can I help? You know, how can I help? And there's a bazillion options there. I have spare kit that I would lend to people. I know that there are multiple others who would. And it doesn't matter if they're top of the league or bottom of the league. Paintball is such an amazing, embracive community that is very capable of supporting newcomers. You know, we really have a great community, and we need to double down on that. We need to take advantage of the opportunities that gives us all to grow the sport. You know, Classic 10-man is the lowest barrier entry into competitive paintball, in my opinion, in terms of cost and in terms of skill set to just enjoy, have fun and participate. This is a full-on get your mate from the pub involved, just like the old days. Any questions, any help you need, reach out, because I got you covered. So, and hundreds of others have as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will have more and more updates about the European Central Classic Cup going forward. So ask away. Ask questions on this thread. Post questions on Facebook, whatever works for you guys. Get in contact however you need to, and I will always get back to you. Take care, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.